So the story about that, RFK had a website that he put up right after Trump won. Was Make America Healthy Again.
Yeah.
But it was nominees for the people, where people could nominate their own, basically for people they thought would be good for certain cabinet positions. I had nothing to do with this, but somebody threw my name in for director of the ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. It got more votes than any other single nominee on the entire website.
Wow.
Really?
And it became a legitimate conversation for a minute.
Wow, that would be awesome.
For a minute?
The thing I said at SHOT Show, I've had to come up with a canned line. It's going to be a really funny story when I can tell it.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
I'm sure you guys, yeah.
That's fair.
Then I got bored and made Tony
Oh
the
my
most
God, I
dishonest
actually
politician.
made a joke. I just realized that I made a joke on the interwebs about this, and I just didn't realize it was you. I didn't even put it together it was you, but it was like, I realized now it was like Brandon Herrera for ATF director, and then this is probably when I was confused on, and then I looked at it.
I love that guy's cop videos.
I'm really YouTube. I never watch YouTube, so I'm just so bad at but so anyways, then I went to your page and I'm like, oh, that's obviously a joke. This guy's, a huge 2A guy. So then I went back and I posted, it would be awesome on his first day that he makes himself unemployed.
Yeah.
Basically saying abolish the ATF on, it was, I thought it was a good joke. Yeah, I thought it was funny.
I thought I was joking, but I was just stating the obvious.
Yeah. On his first day, he makes himself unemployed. Yeah.
That's the end goal.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, it's like...
you'd never have a director of the FAA who fucking hates airplanes.
Yeah.
Who's
the interim guy? They just said
So Stephen Dettelbach just resigned.
Yeah.
They don't have... So the ATF is a weird case where, at the last, 2 decades, there, I think, has been more time where there wasn't an actual confirmed director than the times that there was. So, it's been a lot of acting directors, but not a lot of actual, Senate confirmed directors.
I mean, dude, the ATF, I've had an interesting experience with the ATF. I've been interviewed by them twice actually 3 times, but on just, random stuff it's just crazy what, someone says something and the ATF's like, hey, what's the deal with this? And you're like, oh, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. But what's interesting to me about the ATF is each time I've had to talk to them, in my experience with them, as long as you're just, it's like dealing with cops. You're like, hey, dude, this is what it is. They've been really cool every time I've had to deal with them. But that's also because, I'm not doing anything wrong, and I just, tell them, I'm able to be very honest. But
in my experience, and I think it's probably what you're getting at, is it matters more where they're from, because an ATF field agent from Hawaii or New Jersey is going to behave way fucking different than one from Tennessee or Texas. Because all of my field agents, anybody I've ever had do my interviews or whatever, they've always been rad as fuck. They've been super. I've been lucky. Knock on wood.
I've been the same. I've had a good experience when I've dealt with them. In my experience, the ATF, it just comes down to anything with the government. As long as you're paying, your vig to the government, you can do what you want. As soon as you freaking try and go around them, that's when they ask you.
Punishable by fine means legal for a fee.
There you go. But my dealings with ATF, they've been cool with me, and I've had really cool agents. And it's just but again, it's scary because that if you get the wrong experience, dude, they can put the hammer down on you for things that really are, you know what I mean? It's
to justify their budget or whatever the fuck.
It's a scary situation to deal with them, even if you're not doing anything wrong, because you know the power they have, and it's that is where I think, as a government, if you're not doing anything wrong, you as a person shouldn't have that fear. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm not doing anything wrong, I shouldn't have the fear that, and I don't care who it is, federal law enforcement, if I'm not doing anything wrong, I shouldn't have any fear. And the fact that we do in our current society, because of the amount of power they have and what they can do, I think that needs to change, in my opinion.
And I hate that because of politics. You get the Janet Renos, the Bill Clinton administration, like that sort of thing, where like even with Waco, it's like you could make the argument. It's like, yeah, we probably should have talked to this guy a while ago. But he even said it like in the VHS tapes, like the David Koresh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I go jogging every morning. You could have, like, I have a good relationship with the sheriff.
Yeah.
You could have fucking talked to me at any point.
Yeah.
Why did this
Dude.
become a siege where you have to fucking bake 20 kids alive? Like, that's absurd.
I mean, I've watched quite a lot on Waco. I mean, you know, or do you know that they had an undercover agent?
I've heard that.
No, it's a fact. That's a fact. Like, and
Well, did an undercover or a CI?
no, an
No,
undercover.
straight up undercover.
They had an
the
undercover
church, yeah.
agent in the church. So, dude, I mean, and from the things I've read, I wasn't there. I actually had a friend that was an ATF agent at Waco, and dude, he told me some bananas stuff about just a bunch of things about how crazy that situation was.
I can only imagine.
Dude, I mean, just stuff that he told me, I was like, that is unbelievable. But the point being is, you know, in that agent's defense, from what I read and watched, you know, he himself was like, dude, what are we doing? You know what I mean? He's like,
People don't know how crazy it was.
it is.
Well,
Like, people are
dude,
shooting
it is-
machine guns from a helicopter into a church. Like,
It is,
that's
the whole situation is bananas, and the more you learn about it, the more bananas it is.
The first time I learned about the ATF, I did a show called Narcos, and
he just fucking dropped out.
I know.
Yeah,
See,
like-
I didn't even know you were a narco. What,
season 1 of Narcos. And,
shit.
He played Pablo.
So did I.
But when we first got the script and we started, well, it was cast, that was the story of how the ATF was formed, their interrogation or their investigation of Pablo, and then one of the guys that Boyd Holbrook played, that was like their first big mission where they're flying over and getting
The like reconnaissance
sort
stuff.
of stuff. But going over there and meeting some of the original players in Colombia, because we filmed in
Medellin.
we filmed all over, but we're in
Medellin,
the other one,
Cali,
the Bogota, which I don't know if you guys have ever been to Bogota before. It is I can't sleep there. It's like the altitude. Every time I lay down, it was like
higher than Denver.
It
By
was-
a lot.
yeah,
By a lot.
Awesome place. But
got a great Bogota
the
story.
guy,
Oh, no.
yeah, many.
Yeah, great. Yeah, true.
Does it involve a hat?
No,
There was no hat this time.
no.
Oh, that's worse.
But yeah, it was crazy how like what that the whole time of that agency and what they sort of went through and what they were up against with Pablo and the trade.
You talking about ATF or
Yeah,
DEA?
ATF. The ATF.
Oh, okay.
The DA
Yeah, because I would have
stand
thought
for-
DEA. I didn't know ATF was involved.
Yeah, ATF was involved.
Because this would have been, what, mid-'80s?
Yeah.
Late 80s by the
Yeah.
time.
The ATF had to fight the hippos.
Ah, fair.
Yes.
This is like DA. Yeah, it was
Do we-
probably all branches.
I think it was
getting
like
involved.
from what I was, and I could be shitting the bed on this, but from what I was, this is like one of the first big missions of that entire team. But to see the people on the ground and what happened there, and like just the technology from where they were then to what everybody has now, like with those planes that would go over and
Dude, surveillance as a
Yeah.
whole took
Oh,
off during
yeah.
that time. That was when we learned
like,
about
they were flying over fucking with these planes and just sort of picking up
And
red-
listening to people based on the sound of their voice.
Yeah.
Which is fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you. I'll tell you a Colombia Pablo story. So, when I was in, well, first of all,
Who the fuck are you guys, man?
So when I went to, well, first of all, when we filmed in Colombia for SEAL Team, we filmed in one of, now granted, when I say one of Pablo Escobar's like houses, dude, he probably had 200 houses. You know,
Yeah.
the guy was a billionaire.
See, they turned
But
his
we-
plane into an Airbnb.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, but we stayed. We filmed in one of them. But anyways, when I was in Medellin, we just, my buddy and I at the time were like, dude, let's let's go check out some Pablo Escobar shit. So we went to his gravesite. We went to like where the neighborhood where they like he dealt drugs, which is not a place to go today. Let me tell you, that was a bad idea.
Wild.
Yeah, it was really dangerous. And then dude, we went all over the place.
Let me go to the place where somebody who dealt drugs could get so fucking powerful he became his own
Dude,
government.
it was really dangerous.
Brad, I don't think we fit in.
It was really dangerous. But anyways, we ended up going to we like paid this guy like a bunch of money and was just like there's no Ubers, taxi cab. And we're basically like, take us where Pablo was killed. Like, that was like what we said. And he was like, okay. So we go to this place, and then we were like, we got let out. And
Spoiler alert, I'm on season 2.
and he was wrong. And then we're literally with broken Spanish. We're like, where did Pablo get killed? And dude, we probably asked 10 people, and they're like, finally we get to the spot, right? And I look up, and this is the house. Now, first of all, the house that he was killed on no longer exists. And it's been, I don't know if the whole house was torn down. I don't remember. But the exact spot is different, right? And so I looked up images, and I was, matching it and everything. And we figured out we're standing across from where he was killed. And I'm there. Now, I was a sniper for years, right? And I'm there, and I'm like looking at this house. And I'm looking at the image back in 90, whatever it was, 3, whatever, or 2. And I'm like looking at it, and then I'm reading the account of like how he died. And I'm looking at the location, and then I look around. And I'm like, this doesn't fit. Like, this just doesn't fit. There's no way he was killed by the way the account says, because I'm standing here looking at it. I'm looking at the train.
I have also been to Dealey Plaza.
So basically I'm there, and I'm like looking around. I'm like, there's no way the official account. And so anyways, I called somebody that would be in the know, and they were like, yeah, like, what do you notice? And I'm like, well, there's no way for a person to shoot from to do what he said. And they're like, so what's the only option? And I'm like, and I said something, and he goes, you don't need to ask any more questions. And I was like, okay. So I'll just say, without explaining it, if you go there and you look and you read the official account, you'll put together, there's only...
Yeah, we're going to totally do that.
I'm not going to explain it. I'm just saying you'll figure out what must have happened if you go there, because the train doesn't support the official account.